Ivan, The Remarkable True Story of the Shopping Mall Gorilla by Newbery medalist Katherine Applegate, illustrated by G. Brian Karras. For everyone who loved Ivan. In a leafy calm and gentle arms, a gorilla's life began. The baby was born in a tropical forest in Central Africa. He was part of a large family of western lowland gorillas. The troop included babies, juveniles, females, and a male leader, the silverback. The more the baby gorilla grew, the more he played. The more he played, the more he learned. He rode on his mother's back. He listened to the hoots and grunts and chest beats of his father. He watched the older gorillas, clever and quick, as they wrestled and chased and swung from the vines. He did not learn about humans until it was too late. Poachers with loud guns and cruel hands stole the little gorilla and another baby. After thousands of miles and endless days in a black, damp crate, at last came light and fresh air. The jungle, green with life, was gone. The gorillas had traveled halfway around the world to Tacoma, Washington. A man who owned a shopping mall had ordered and paid for them, like a couple of pizzas, like a pair of shoes. People cooed and laughed and held the babies. They dressed them in human clothes and fed them human food. The shopping mall owner ran a Name the Babies contest, and the winning names were Burma and Ivan. One dark day, soon after the babies arrived in their strange new world, Burma died. Without her, Ivan was all alone, with too much left to learn. While he was little, Ivan was cute and cuddly. For 3 years he lived in a home like a human child. He slept in a bed and went to baseball games. He held babies and rode on a motorcycle. He had to learn many things gorillas in the wild don't ever need to know. The one thing Ivan didn't need to learn was how to eat. The more he ate, the more he grew. The more he grew, the less he could live a human life in a human house. A cage in the mall became Ivan's new home. There wasn't much to do. Sometimes Ivan watched TV. Sometimes he played with an old tire. Sometimes he finger painted, signing the papers with a thumbprint. Mostly he watched the humans watching him. Ivan was about 13 when his coat began to shimmer with silvery white hairs. He'd grown into a silverback gorilla. In the jungle, he would have been ready to protect his family, but he had no family to protect. Year after year passed. People began to grow angry about Ivan's lonely life. Children and adults wrote letters and signed petitions and held protests. Ivan lived in his cage without the company of other gorillas for 27 years before he was sent on another journey. This time the hands were gentle. Zoo Atlanta wasn't a jungle. It was a place with walls. Still, the breeze carried jungle sounds and scents. Scientists who understood the needs of gorillas helped Ivan adjust, slowly, carefully, gently, to his new life. Finally, it was time. Was Ivan ready? Cameras clicked, reporters watched. When Ivan stepped onto the cool green grass, the sunlight gleaming on his silver hair, people cheered and laughed and wept with joy. Ivan, the shopping mall gorilla, was in a place with trees and grass and other gorillas at last. In a leafy calm and gentle arms, a gorilla's life began again. about Ivan. The facts of Ivan's life are not well recorded, but as far as we know, Ivan was born in 1962 in what is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He was about 6 months old when he was caught by poachers, traders who illegally capture and often kill wild animals. It's unclear what happened to Ivan's family, but he was seized with another gorilla, a young female, most likely the infant of a different mother from Ivan's troop. The two babies were shipped to B&I Circus Store in Tacoma, a shopping center that frequently displayed wild animals, including an elephant, a seal, and chimpanzees to attract customers. To advertise their latest acquisition, the B&I sponsored a contest to come up with the best names for the babies. The babies' names had to begin with a B and an I. The winner received $500. The little female gorilla Burma died shortly after her arrival in the United States, but Ivan survived. For the next 3 years, he lived in a home of a family who ran a pet store at the B&I. While there, Ivan had a very human existence. He particularly liked fried chicken dinners and swinging from lamps and curtains. When he grew too big to handle, around the age of 5, Ivan was placed in an enclosure at the B&I and spent much of his time in a small 14 by 14 foot steel and cement room. He quickly became a popular attraction and was known as the shopping mall gorilla. There was little for Ivan to do in his days, although he seemed to enjoy finger painting and often watched television. Many children grew up visiting Ivan regularly. They would stare into his eyes or press their hands to Ivan's window, waiting for him to pound on the glass as he dashed by. During the 27 years Ivan lived in his cage, people became more aware of the needs of captive wild animals. The idea that animals need habitats that mimic their natural environment, as well as their daily stimulation, and the company of others of their own kind, represented a new approach to care. In 1990, when Ivan's story was featured in the National Geographic documentary The Urban Gorilla, his plight became widely known. Several newspapers covered his story, and in fact, I learned about Ivan in 1993 when I came across an article in the New York Times entitled "Gorilla Sulks in Mall as His Future is Debated." As frustration with Ivan's situation grew, many local residents, children, and adults boycotted the B&I to protest Ivan's isolated existence. Ivan's supporters held Free the Gorilla rallies. They wrote angry letters to local, state, and national officials and made sure that Ivan's story received news coverage. One 11-year-old fifth-grade girl even gathered more than 1,500 signatures on a Free Ivan petition. In 1994, with the help of Seattle's Woodland Park Zoo, Ivan was moved to Zoo Atlanta, a premier facility that houses the nation's largest population of gorillas in a 1.5-acre natural habitat. Ivan was allowed to slowly acclimate to his new life. At first he was afraid of the other gorillas, but gradually he became more comfortable with them. He never had children, but he enjoyed playing with the juvenile gorillas and with the females at the zoo. His dislike of wet weather was well known, and he often carried a burlap coffee bag with him to protect his feet from the damp grass. To those who knew him, he seemed to be content at last. Ivan died in 2012 at the age of 50. The oldest gorilla now living in captivity is 52, and gorillas in the wild typically live only into their 30s. Zoo Atlanta held a memorial service for its beloved celebrity gorilla, which was attended by people from all over the country. Ivan is remembered for his quirky personality and loving relationship with his keepers, as well as for representing the need for all animals to be treated with dignity and kindness. If you want to learn more, you can visit zooatlanta.org, gorillafund.org, or nationalgeographic.com. Jody Kerrigan, Ivan's main keeper at Zoo Atlanta during the last years of life, shares memories of her friend. Ivan was my best friend for 10 years, and I am a better keeper for having cared for and known such a unique and amazing animal. He gave us lots of love, and I think he enjoyed his 18 years with us at Zoo Atlanta as much as we enjoyed having him here. Every time I think of Ivan, I smile and remember how glad he was to see me and how he greeted me with happy rumbles, especially when I came to work in the morning. He was very gentle and loving and always kept me laughing. Ivan loved to paint, which was evident by how quickly he came right over and made delighted noises when I got the painting supplies out. I would hold out the colors and he would point to the one he wanted to use. His favorite color was red. I would put it on the canvas and give him the brush, and when he was done, he'd hand the brush back to me. For his finishing touch, he would sign each one with a fingerprint. Ivan had a very large following of fans from Washington State. His fan club only grew when he moved to Atlanta. He won the hearts of thousands of people, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him. His life has been a symbol of the way animals shape our lives, and the power we have to shape theirs. A painting by Ivan.